we're a Christian education organization, and we also sponsor kids in elementary schools, even daycare centers. But I told you that we were kidnapped in Kenya, and we were on the way to a village, walking from our house to a village called Huruma, and we never got there that day. But 2 years later, I got there another way in my car, and found a lady that had a little adult education program. And after getting to know her, she said, the kids here don't even go to high school. There's no high school around here. Some of them finish 8th grade, but nobody goes to high school because they can't afford it. Mm-hmm. So again, long story short, some people in Nashville here helped me, and we built a high school. It was made out of shipping containers. Wow. I have to show you a picture sometimes. It's a beautiful building. It's amazing what you can do with shipping containers. And at the very first graduation, Mary and I were living there, and these kids were just going to high school, and they invited us to come to the graduation, and so we decided we'd give them all as a graduation present. After they got their diploma, we'd give them a Bible. Mm-hmm. It was a Christian school, but a lot of them still didn't have a Bible. And kind of as a last minute thing, Mary's writing a little card to the 32 graduates. Right. And I said, let's put some money in that envelope. 1,000 shillings is $10 US. Mm. So I put 1,000 shilling note, they call it, like a $10 bill. Right. And I didn't think anything else about it. We gave it to them. About a year later, the headmaster of that school called me and said, have you heard what happened to John Wanjaru? I didn't know. I thought maybe he got killed. I didn't know. No, I haven't had any contact with him. She said, would you be willing to meet with him? I said, sure. She said, let's pick a place. And I picked a place. She called him. He comes up in a taxi cab, steps out in a suit, and walks over and has lunch with me. And I said, well, the headmaster says I should ask what's been happening to you. He said, well, it's just the Lord, and but I do want to thank you for the gift of the 1,000 shillings. Can I tell you how the Lord used that? I said, yeah. He said, I didn't even know what was in that Bible. I had my diploma in my Bible, and I walked back home about 6 miles. And then when I got home, I opened it, and I saw the envelope and the card. And when I pulled that out, he said, I never held that much money in my hand in my life. $10. He is raised by a single mother, 8 siblings. And he said, so I knew this was a gift from God. I'd worked, I'd had jobs, but this was a gift. So he said, for the next 3 days, I kept it in my pocket, and I walked around my village, and I prayed, God, how would you have me use this $10? Because I believe it's for my future. And he talked to the guy repairing bicycles, and he talked to the people selling vegetables on the side of the street. He talked to the guy repairing shoes. But he said, I kept kind of being drawn back to this guy that was selling eggs. And I started asking him a lot of questions about his business. Finally he said, well, I could use some help. And he said, well, I'd rather not work for you. I'd like to work with you. How many eggs can I buy for 1,000 shillings? And he bought trays. And the guy said, I'll sell them to you at this price. I suggest you sell them at this price. The only condition is you got to go sell them on the other side of the village. And he started with that. Mm-hmm. He doubled his money the first day. Wow. And then he did more and more. And then he got to go meet the people at the farm. He started getting it directly. By then he had to buy a bicycle. You can't ride with eggs on your bike. But he said, I would push my bicycle loaded with crates of eggs. Wow. Until he got to the point that he got 4 other guys and bought them bicycles. And then he started renting a taxi cab that he would go down there, and besides those 4 guys, he'd get a whole taxi cab full of eggs and go to another village. By the time I met John, he said, at the restaurant, he said, and now I have a shop. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, we sell all kind of stuff, but we do sell eggs. And I still have these 4 guys selling eggs over there. Right. And he said, do you remember my brother Peter? I said, yeah. He graduated with you. He said, yeah. He's a couple of years younger, but we graduated at the same time because I didn't go to school for 2 years after elementary school. And then we heard about the New Dawn Academy, and so we came together. Well, he's in university. I said, really? He said, yeah, I'm paying for him to go to school.
Wow.
He said, I'm married too. Would you like to meet my wife? I said, sure. I gave him a ride back to the shop. I met his wife. And she said, oh, have you told him about your brother? I said, yeah, I told him in school. Fast forward to the end of the story. John put his brother all the way through school. He's a surgeon at the Nairobi General Hospital now.
Wow.
He put two more of his brothers through school. One is in medical school now. One as an engineer. And he still has that one shop. Then he got a place downtown. He's basically a wholesaler.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, he got an opportunity to come to the U.S. to go to college himself.
Mm.
And if he told this story, every other phrase would be, and then God provided. And then God provided this, and then God provided that.
Mm.
That is one of my favorite stories.
Wow, that is a tremendous story of what God can do with $10.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, our minds really can't wrap around
No.
what that $10
Yeah.
can do.